Was QB number 1 a top 10 pick, do you think?
I'm gonna get with what you're doing. Yeah, probably.
Would you guess that they're a top 5 pick?
I mean, they shouldn't have been in my eyes, but yeah, probably.
That quarterback went to Florida.
Tim Tebow. Oh my god, the most professional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Perkle, here at the coast today. Aaron, go and say hi, Aaron.
Hi. If you like our content, go ahead and like and subscribe, and leave a comment and let us know what you think.
Yeah, do that. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be taking a look at JJ McCarthy, the most mysterious man in the 2024 NFL Draft. Some people say he's a top 3, lock it in, top 3 pick. Other people are saying he shouldn't even be a first rounder. What's that all about? I don't know. But we'll talk about it, that's for sure. I, for one, am definitely closer to the latter camp. I do not think JJ McCarthy should at least be. He shouldn't be top 5, man. He should not be a top 5 pick. I don't understand why the draft stock has risen on him like it has. It feels very Zach Wilson-esque to me.
What I think the hype is coming from is his physicals, other than kind of his full on size. He's not quite as big, but his physicals are kind of comparable to Josh Allen. I know everybody's can't compare these young guys to the NFL stars, but it's true. I mean, he's a good runner, just like Josh Allen. Maybe in a little bit different way, maybe a little bit more pure speed, whereas Josh Allen's a little bit more bullish, run people over kind of. Um, he's got a strong arm, just like him. I think he had the second hardest throw at the combine behind Joe Milton. Um, and the knock on him is kind of that his mentals might not be there yet. So I think people kind of compare him to Josh Allen. He might have that similar sort of career start where, they plug him in and he's not the guy right away. He takes some time to develop. Um, but his physicals are very comparable to Josh Allen.
Yeah, I kind of see where you're coming from. He's a tall guy. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's a pretty solid dual threat quarterback, as far as we know. That's the big thing with JJ McCarthy, is as far as we know, because we didn't get to see probably as much of the arm talent as we would have liked during his time in Michigan. A lot of that kind of came down to just not needing it really to win games. I'm sure if it came down to it needing to be a shootout, like maybe a Big 12 type of game would have presented, then maybe you would see McCarthy, show it off a little bit more than you did. But most Big Ten games tend to be drag it out, claw it out, scratch, defense, defense, defense. Try to just beat
The
the living.
AFC north of college football.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's beat the living crap out of each other for 4 quarters, and the last man left standing wins. That's why Iowa was top 10 in the nation somehow, even though their offense scored like a paltry 10 points a game or whatever it was.
Don't get me started on Iowa.
Yeah,
Don't get me started on Iowa.
I don't know if I feel confident in a guy who's got such small sample size passing the ball in college. You haven't seen him throw the rock around like you saw with maybe a Caleb Williams, or you saw with even a CJ Stroud last year. You had more confidence in their ability as a passer coming into the league than I feel like you do with JJ McCarthy, or maybe confidence isn't the word, but evidence of him being a quality thrower of the football. You saw, I will admit, at the combine, JJ McCarthy was throwing some dots with no shoulder
Yes.
pads, no helmet, nobody rushing him. It's You know, like we haven't seen any sort. We've seen. I will say, if anything, I kind of feel the opposite on you. I think the mental game has shown itself more so than the physical game has, outside of maybe running the football. Um, seen him have tremendous mental toughness, both late in games, but third down specifically, one of the best third down conversion rates out of any quarterback in college football. As far I believe that's correct, at least. Um,
He also ranked six, or they ranked 66th in passing the ball on third downs. So a lot of their third down conversions came from
Running the
running the ball.
football. Well, then that even proves my point. Then, so I was building a straw man argument, Aaron, just to prove your point wrong.
Hmm.
That, yeah. Uh, no, well, see that kind of just like you admitted, kind of proves my point that I just don't know if we've seen enough for JJ McCarthy to warrant him being a top five pick. Have you seen mainly like is it mainly just he's a good talker? Like does he talk like obviously I know he says the right things, but what's outside of the physical tools, is there something else that's caused him to move up draft boards so quickly, or is it really just they see all this potential in this package, and because he hasn't maybe similar to like an Anthony Richardson with me personally is because we haven't really gotten to see him yet, it makes him that more exciting because it's like, oh, but what he could be is so much. Like if he reaches that, it's amazing, and that's all you maybe see in your mind right now as a front office guy is like, oh, but if we get him in our doors, JJ McCarthy, he's not going to be just another guy. He's going to be the guy. Is that kind of just the only thing driving these GMs?
I mean, I think a lot of these quarterbacks, they sit down and interview them, and a lot of them know their stuff. It's one thing, knowing it and being able to explain it to a coach or somebody like that. It's a whole other thing to be able to put it all into practice in a game, when bodies start flying. So I'm sure, he knows his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. Um, but then you have to think. You said his biggest knock was, he doesn't have as many starts or games
Reps,
or
basically.
reps
Yeah.
as, like a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix. And yeah, they are probably, without a doubt, a lot more NFL ready at this point than JJ McCarthy is. That just happens with experience. I mean, they've
Right.
got thousands of reps at the college level, and McCarthy doesn't. But then you look at the ceiling, sort of, kind of like with Anthony Richardson. The ceiling for JJ McCarthy could be comparable to Josh Allen just because they are
Yeah.
very similar in kind of how they play. So I think that's kind of what's getting Scott's excited.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see the potential there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we saw at the combine, the dude's got a laser of an arm. Can throw it a mile. Seemingly can be pinpoint accurate when given time in the pocket as well. Good at converting third downs when he's asked to. So I see the potential. I do. I do. I just personally don't know if there's enough evidence for me to risk a top five pick on him. That's I guess where I'm coming from mostly. Is I just don't think he should be up there. I was okay with him being around the 15 spot. I was okay with him creeping up towards top 10. But once it got to the top five, I was a little like, okay, come on.
So you said you're fine with McCarthy being drafted in like the teens, 15-ish, right? That's what you
Yeah.
said.
Yep.
We're gonna play a little game of QB comparison here.
All right.
QB1 started a whopping total of 24 games in college.
Okay.
QB2 started 40.
40. Okay.
QB1 attempted 393 passes, completed 215 for a completion percentage of around 55%. QB2 attempted 713 with 482 completed, 68% completions. QB1 threw in their 24 games threw 24 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions.
Hmm.
QB2 threw 49 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. QB number 1 in their 24 games rushed 161 times for 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. Averaged about 47 yards per game. QB2 in their 40 games rushed 161 times for 632 yards, 10 touchdowns, about 16 yards per game. Was QB number 1 a top 10 pick, do you think?
I'm gonna get with what you're doing. Yeah, probably.
Would you guess that they're a top 5 pick?
I mean, they shouldn't have been in my eyes, but yeah, probably.
That quarterback went to Florida.
Tim Tebow.
Anthony Richardson was QB number 1. And JJ McCarthy was obviously QB number 2. So being all excited about all Anthony Richardson's promise, I would argue JJ McCarthy has showed a lot more promise in college than Anthony Richardson did. Won a national title. I don't know if Florida even won 8 games with Anthony Richardson.
I don't think so. Um, Anthony Richards bigger and stronger
And faster, probably.
and faster.
So I'm just saying.
Ah, you got me there. Gosh dang it. Really? I mean, I knew Anthony
Yep.
Richardson. Ah, gosh dang. Well, that's smart. I don't really know where to go with this. You.
I finally stumped you.
Yeah, you got me. You got me. Ah. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I suppose my counter argument would be SEC means more. SEC means more. That's that's all I
There
gotta
you go.
say.
It just means more
All I
than
gotta
SEC.
say, it just means more. Just means more. That's
Can't argue with that.
yeah. I mean, who can? Who can? So
JJ McCarthy beat Alabama.
yeah, I don't think Anthony Richardson did that. I would imagine not. Yeah, you got me. So I guess moral of the video is maybe JJ McCarthy's worthy of a top 5 pick based off potential alone. Or you can be a hater like me, where, live on the dangerous side. Yeah. So, unless you got anything else, Aaron, I think that'll do it for this
No.
episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circlemark Merkel, here with the coach today, Aaron. Go and say hi. Bye, Aaron.
Bye.
All right, please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Other than that, deuces.